Welcome fight fans to my channel. This is Johnny, and today we're going to be going over Terence Crawford's path to undisputed at 154 pounds. Guys, if you've been paying attention to the boxing world the last 48 hours, if you're a subscriber to our Facebook group, Boxing News Today, or just a fan of myself and the page, you've been keeping up to date on the goings-on around Saudi Arabia, His Excellency, and the fights he's been putting together. I find out that they announced Tim Tszyu is officially fighting Virgil Ortiz in August on the same card as Terence Crawford and Israel Madrimov in Los Angeles. They also added David Morrell to the card and Cuban Olympic standout Andy Cruz. Now, Pitbull Cruz is on the card. It is an impressive showing nonetheless. But today I want to talk about the business at hand for Crawford. We heard all the talk after he dismantled Errol Spence that he was moving up and he wanted to go after Charlo, who at that time was undisputed at 54. Now, if we remember, Charlo relinquishes his belts, gets stripped, still has the ring one, by the way, we'll get to that a little bit later, goes up to 68 to fight Canelo, loses. During these months, Errol Spence Jr. in and out of the hospital, had to get his eye fixed. People didn't know if that rematch was gonna go on, and then we find out the rematch wasn't going to take place. Terence Crawford had moved on, and then he comes out and says he wants to become undisputed at 54. Now, at that time, we didn't know if he was gonna fight Tim Tszyu. We didn't know if Tszyu was gonna beat Fundora. As the pieces fall into place, we know what happened with Tszyu and Fundora. Fundora wins. He does now have the WBO and WBC, but he can't fight until at least September due to some of the facial fractures. Tim Tszyu, no longer in this current equation, but in about 9-12 months, he's still there. Especially we'll see what happens with the Ortiz fight. But Crawford signs now to fight Israel Madrimov, who is a belt holder at 54. And here we are with this video. I want to talk about Bud Crawford's path now to becoming undisputed in 3 different weight classes, and this was always his goal. Legacy is something that's always been on his mind. To recap, he's been undisputed at 40. Beating Errol Spence made him undisputed at 47. And now what seems, at one moment not too long ago, if he would have gone to 68, he could have become undisputed all in one fight. Now, what were the reality around that? He would have had to fight Canelo, and that seems like a tough task for a kid who's never fought above 47 in the professionals. But fast forward the clock to right now, his path to undisputed doesn't look that crazy, and we're gonna go over what would happen and what has to happen for that to take place. Let's talk about the current belt holders first. In our list, we're not gonna include the IBO. I don't really have a lot of faith in that belt. We will include the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, the WBO, and I'll throw the ring in there just for the Charlo fans. Okay, when Crawford fights Madrimov in August, Madrimov's WBA belt will be on the line at 154. Fundora the very next month will be eligible to fight again. When Seb beat Tszyu, Seb gained 2 of the belts. He has the WBC and the WBO. We know Charlo has the ring. The other belt, the IBF, which is included in the undisputed equation, is held by an undefeated Russian fighter who's 22-0 with 16 knockouts named Bakram Murtazayev. Let's say that again, Bakram Murtazayev. So, what it looks like will happen, winner of Bud versus Madrimov will take on Fundora. Let's say Bud beats Madrimov, beats Fundora. He now has 3 out of the 4 belts, and even though the fans might not like it, it would be a matchup between him, this is as it's currently standing, between him, Murtazayev, unless Murtazayev fights Charlo at 54 and unifies 2 of those belts. We'll see what happens. The hit list, though, is at least upon Bud. He knows what he has to do. There's a path to undisputed finally. With all these fights being announced, we could see the roadmap to what Bud wants to achieve. I'll leave it with you guys. August is still a little bit ways away. We're only in end of April, May, June, July, about 3 months. If everything falls in the line, everybody stays healthy, all these fights take place, does Bud beat Madrimov? Does Bud beat Seb? And does Bud become undisputed at 154? Let me know in the comment section below.